Hello and welcome to another in our series of intermittent interviews with well-known soccer players. We're delighted to have Brendon Aaronson with us today. This is a young man, 19 years of age, with a very impressive resume. If we take a little look there, you should be able to see it on your screens, but youth national teams, homegrown MLS All-Star, played for the full national team this year. He's a young player on the rise. Don't know if you've seen him play, but if you have, I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't, you should watch him, because this is sort of the model of what young players are looking like these days, especially in forward attacking positions. We're delighted to have him with us. Brendon, welcome.
No, thanks for having me.
Welcome, Brendon.
Thank you.
How about we start off? Actually, before we start with the video, Brendon, just before we come on air there, we were talking about some connection you had with Davis Legacy. Can you just, for everyone listening, can you just repeat what you mentioned to me just when we met for the first time, or maybe not? Maybe we met all the years ago and we didn't know it. So you could just share your legacy story. Yeah. That would be great.
So I went out to Davis. Like, my grandparents had a house out there for a little bit. My dad grew up in California, so they had that house for a while. And I went to go visit them when I was like probably 10 years old. And I went out for a week, and my dad always, whenever I went places, I tried to train as much as I can. So we actually got in with Davis Soccer Club there, and I trained there for a week. Yeah, it was an awesome experience.
Great. Well, it's great to have you on as a guest speaker. So, Simon, I'm going to start with a little video, and then I'm going to hand it over to you for the Q&A. Before I play the video, please make sure we follow Brendon on social media. Instagram, Twitter is listed here. We'll also be tagging it on our YouTube video, which we'll be sending out to all our membership. So here is a short video of Brendon in action.
Vino por abajo, cerquita, el peligro, el tiro de... cuidado, porque Sean Johnson le estaba haciendo un extraño al final. Termina corrigiendo la figura el arquero de NYCFC. Continúa la salida para Brendon Aaronson, el de Philadelphia Union. Balón en el medio campo, le ejecta. Aaronson! Goal!
What a goal.
Thank you.
Est-ce qu'on a vu ses capacités? Et est-ce qu'on l'a trouvé? Oui, et le 2-0! Et le 2-0 pour Philadelphie. C'est Aaronson qui vient faire le break. They don't need the break. I thought Martinez had a handball there. It's not called. Union with it. Over the top. Harrison. Shot.
I should have squared it to him right there, but
went in though, mate. It went in. So
yeah, that's all that matters.
If it hadn't gone in, then yeah.
Center backs 1v1, which is great for El Sino.
Appreciate the time.
Aaronson's going to fall for Sergio Santos there. Yakovic missed it. Santos blocked by Yakovic. Second chance for Santos. Brendon Aaronson scores! Third time tonight, Philadelphia take the lead. It's the ninth.
Did you guys hang on and win that game?
No, we actually tied 3-3. It was a crazy game, man.
Great. So without much further ado, Simon, let's find out about Mr. Aaronson.
Well, thanks, Robert. So just before we get into it, mate, just wanted to talk a little bit about the video. I think some real good lessons for young attacking players there. It's people have different names for it, but I would call it feeling pressure. You seem to feel pressure very well, knowing where pressure is coming from, knowing where the space is to turn into. Finding spaces. How have you developed that over time?
I mean, since I've been young, it's been something that I was just put in front of a TV, soccer playing, and something that I've loved watching. And I think it's huge for kids watching soccer. I think you learn so much watching Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, any of these attacking midfielders for me. It's great watching them play and seeing their movements, and it helps you out as a player so much so you can use that in your own game. And it also comes with time and you start feeling it out a little bit.
So you were sort of watching the TV from a young age? Is this a family member saying, "Hey, look, check out the way De Bruyne moves," or is it that you working that piece out on your own and then with the help of coaches and teammates doing it on the pitch?
No, yeah, I was really fortunate to have a dad that's been a part of the game for a while. He went to college at Monmouth University and has been a part of the game ever since. And he's really knowledgeable and he knows a lot about the game. So he put me in front of Liverpool for the first time, and that's my favorite team. So I don't know if you can see, but I have Steven Gerrard in my room back there. But yeah, he was my favorite player growing up, and I just loved his tenacity and just how he got into tackles. And he scored goals, but he was kind of a guy that went into tackles, and I love that about him.
So he possibly plays a little deeper than you are. I mean, you can play as an 8, but you've played wide too. You've also played as a 10. So he's your favorite player, but would you say positionally you two are slightly different?
Positionally, yeah, slightly different, but I like to think that like I'm an 8.5, I guess you can say, like right in between the 10 and the 8. But yeah, I mean, I played winger. I'm just whatever I can get on the field, I'm gonna bring what I can do. So I was put all around last year, and it really worked out for me. So I was happy with it. And probably today, I'd say my favorite player is I always love David Silva. I love the new guy Bruno Fernandes on Manchester United. All these guys that have these crafty little movements and are always putting their offensive players in better spots to score goals. So yeah, I watch a lot of that. I watch a lot of English Premier League, as you can see.
And how long have you been watching Liverpool for?
Since the first time it put me in front of a soccer game was probably 4, probably before that. I can't remember before that, but I just remember their Champions League win when they won the Champions League final against AC Milan. I can remember parts of that, even though I was like 5 years old at the time. But
what was that, 2005?
Yeah.
All right, so you've been a fan for a long time. So you're a frustrated man right now. Two wins from the title.
Yeah, I know. It's frustrating because I just want them to win the English Premier League because it's been like 30 years. So it's been really long. But, I mean, they're out of Champions League now, which sucks too because I don't know if you saw that game with Marcus Llorente scoring like 2 goals. Mm-hmm. So that sucks, but they're going to win the English Premier League, and they won Champions League last year, so I couldn't be happier.
So how do you think Liverpool have changed? You've been following them for a while. How have they changed over the years?
I think just like they're more of like these past 3 years, they've been more of a sturdy team winning games. I think in the past, like they've lost to teams like Blackburn, who was in the Premier League. Like they would lose stupid games. Now they're a team that like every single week in and week out, they should win that game. Like the Manchester Uniteds were back in the day and stuff like that. They're like the new Manchester United in like 2010. That Manchester United team, like they're supposed to win every single game. And that's how they've really changed. I think in the past, they've kind of struggled with teams that aren't as good. And I think now they have a team where they can sub on a guy and get the same factors out of him.
So is that mental strength? Is it technique? Is it tactics? Is it player quality?
Yeah, I think it's the coach. I really like Jurgen Klopp and what he likes to do with them. I think that it's really helped them. And I think it's just because of the players, man. You have so much quality up top. Like, they can score goals whenever. And they have a really good back line getting Virgil van Dijk. That was huge for them. And, yeah, I think they just have the players. Like, it's just something that's kind of all worked out.
Well, we certainly hope that the Premier League starts up again and that Liverpool can get 6 more points and win that title that we've been waiting so long for.
Yeah, I hope so.
So let's talk a little bit about you now. Obviously, things are going well for you at the moment. The COVID-19 aside, it's been quite a ride the past few years. But this obviously all started somewhere, and you talked a little bit about your father being an influence. Both now, but when you were young as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just sort of talk a little bit about when you were younger, when you were 8, when you were 10. Like, how did you get involved in soccer? Was it the only sport you played? Did you have a wide variety of sporting interests? Like, how did it all begin?
Yeah, so like I said, my dad put me in front of a ball and a TV at a really young age, and he brought soccer to me basically. And I remember him telling me that like one time he put you know what figure eights are? I can imagine you guys know that.
Mm-hmm.
literally like just dribbling around the 8. And I remember he told me that one time he put 2 cones down and I did figure 8s. And he left to go on a phone call. And 2 hours later, I was still doing the figure 8s. So it's something that like I've always like wanted to be like really, really, I wanted to go pro. And it's something that I've had a dream of from a really young age. And yeah, I was into other sports. I played baseball, lacrosse, basketball. I was a kid that was in all the sports. But soccer was always the one where my main focus was on. All the other ones were just for fun at the time. I wasn't putting all my focus because, you know, at a young age, you want to have all those kinds of things mixed in to give you a wide variety of things and make friends. So I think basketball was probably the second thing that I really enjoyed, and I was fortunate to have a really good team in that too. But yeah, soccer's been the thing that I've been with for forever now. And it all started well, I'm from Medford, New Jersey. So Medford Soccer Club is where I started. And Medford Soccer Club has created a lot of people that have gone to pros, and it's a really good soccer club. And I was there for probably 3 or 4 years, and my team was very good. We went to state cup finals. We won big tournaments. We were really good. I think we were like number 10 in the country at some point. And then after that, I went to Real, New Jersey, which is Medford Soccer Club. We took a bunch of the best Medford kids, basically most of the Medford team, and made like a select team kind of. And then we added kids from all over the South Jersey area, and it was kind of like a select team at this point. And it started in the summertime, and then it created to a full club. And my dad's in charge of that club now, and it's called Real, New Jersey. And my brother came through it, and my sister came through it. So it's a big club now. I think that there's like 6 or 7 teams, and all the teams are very good. So my team was really good, and it's what helped me get to the Philadelphia Union. And at 11 years old, I started with the Philadelphia Union. And the funny thing is, Jim Curtin was actually my coach at the time, who's actually my coach now on the Philadelphia Union. So I was with him for a year, and it was more of just like a training team. It wasn't like quite the academy yet because they were still figuring out things because the Philadelphia Union came to be in 2010. So like the first year of like trying to get a youth team together. And yeah, I was just training, going back to my club and training. And then the year after is when I started with the academy at 13, and I was playing with 14-year-olds. So I was playing 1 year up, and my first coach was Chris Brewer. And that was a great experience for me. I played a lot that year. And then I had Chris Brewer again for 14's year when I was a 14. And up from there, I had a really good academy experience. And I think I struggled a little bit. I was always a small kid. I was always tiny, long hair. I didn't really grow that much. And I'm still like slender kid, as you guys can see in the film. But it's something that like me struggling a little bit helped me a lot. So I think struggling as a kid is really helpful for the future.
That's a really interesting point. I mean, we see a lot of kids at our club, and kids they can be a little bit impatient by nature, right? That's just part of being a kid. And,
yeah.
And I think sometimes they're going to make mistakes. Sometimes they're not as physically big as they want to be. That sounds like that's been one of your challenges. Can you just dive a little bit deeper into that? Because I think there's a really good lesson there for young players.
Yeah, so I've always been on the smaller side for kids, but I've always had the soccer mind, and I think that's what really helps you on the next level. If you have that soccer mind, you can figure things out, how to get around big people. Like that's what I have to do in the MLS now. I have to figure out ways that I can create a little space to get a cross in, or create a little space to get a shot off, or just make separation to get the ball. It's all about your mind and like focusing on that. I think that's huge for small guys. If you're the smartest player on the field, then you're one of the best. So I think that's something that really helped me at a young age, and learning those small techniques. And then now I'm starting to get bigger and faster and stronger. It's something that I have the small things, but I'm also getting that other thing too. So something you just got to stay patient and it will come.
Yeah, the physical piece is going to come sooner or later.
Exactly.
But it looks like you've done a lot of technical work as well, in addition to having that soccer mind. So
Yeah.
now you execute what you're thinking in real time like that. Would that be fair to say?
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, my dad's been by my side the entire ride, and he's put me through drills every single day. Like I remember back when I trained every single day, every single day, maybe twice a day sometimes. Me and my brother, I have a younger brother who's in the Philadelphia Union Academy, who's a very, very good player too. So I'm really looking forward to see what he can do if he can get on the first team. So yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate to have him too. So we play a lot of 1v1 with each other in a tight little area. We used to have in my basement, like my basement was never done. So we had like kind of an area it was probably like 10 feet by like 10 feet. It was the tiniest area, but we would just battle and play 1v1 in that little area. And I just say this because it made my feet, I feel like it made my feet a lot better just from doing that little 1v1 stuff.
Yeah, some good lessons for now with the lockdown. I mean, just using a basement, using whatever space you have to do what you can with the ball at your feet.
Yeah, exactly.
So some really interesting stuff there, mate. I think sounds a lot like getting yourself in the right environment was key to how you've progressed over the last few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think just the coaches that I've had over the years and taking advantage of the coaches, not like taking advantage, but you know what I mean, like extra training after practice, talking to them about film, anything you can do to get better at the game. That's what I would say. And it's just like a passion where you want to be the best you can be.
And I'm backtracking a little bit here, but I was interested to hear that you said you played a lot of different sports growing up. Mm-hmm. So when did you start to focus on soccer? When did soccer become the only sport?
Oh, I'm trying to think of when's the last time. I have a trophy back there of a basketball tournament, but my dad just he said it like just growing up, I think that I had a bunch of friends that played basketball on my soccer team. So it's something that basketball was a good thing for me, but at 11, I just wanted to be done with it. It was, I think probably 10 or 11, maybe even before that, like 9 or 10. I was just like, I don't want anything else. I just want soccer now. Like it was fun doing all this stuff, but it's what I've always wanted to do, soccer. So probably around that age is when I was really focusing on soccer.
Oh, that's pretty young. That's interesting. Do you think playing other sports, having those other experiences helped you when you did decide to focus on soccer? And if so, how?
Yeah. In their own ways, I think I think basketball, awareness-wise, like all the sports require awareness in a way, and it's just different kind of feelings of it. But I would probably say basketball is the closest thing that I got to soccer, just by running a lot, getting fitness out of it, cutting, getting good at cutting on the basketball court. Just something like that, like little things like that I think helped.
So moving on a little bit to, we've talked a little bit about Steven Gerrard and David Silva. Were there other players that you looked up to that were a little more local? Were the folks like on older teams or on American teams that you looked up to? Was there a favourite team or another team other than Liverpool that you sort of gleaned information from growing up?
Yeah, I would definitely say the Philadelphia Union. I mean, I've gone to all their games. I had season tickets the first 5 years. Okay. So I was always at their games, and I was of course a fan of them because home team. But yeah, favorite players, I would probably say the local guy, Stephen King. He played for DC United. Remember, I trained with him one time, and that was eye-opening kind of experience for me because you get to be next to a pro. So that was huge for me. And some other players I would probably say is American guys. I would probably have to say Landon Donovan, just Christian Pulisic, guys now that are just killing it in Europe, Weston McKennie. I want to strive towards that.
Now, why can you be a little more specific? Why did you like Landon? Why do you like Weston? Why do you like Christian?
Yeah, I think all of them are different in ways. I think Landon Donovan was just a full-out finisher, man. He finished everything, and that's something I've been working on a lot is my finishing, and I want to get cleaner with it and do better with it. And all I worked on in the off season was finishing, all in around the box, because I looked at a chart at the end of the year, and all of my shots were, I think I had 20, 30 shots inside the box that I only scored 3 last year. So it's something that I wanted to get way better at. And I strive to get 10 goals and 10 assists this year. That's something that I just bring in my head every now and then, that's what I'm striving for. And yeah, I think that Landon kind of brought that finishing thing, and Christian's dribbling and explosion and the shiftiness. I think that he's a special player, and Weston's just like a bull in the midfield. I think he wins balls and he plays forward. So I like that about them all.
You've talked a lot about, players that you've learned from, things that you've learned to do. What about the flip side of that? How did you figure out what not to do?
Yeah, I think Jim has done it. My coach now, Jim Curtin, has done a very good job of. I've always liked to dribble, but it's something that I've always passed the ball. It's not like I've been a ball hog or anything like that. But I think that for a midfielder and for a 10, it's when you get inside the final third, of course, you can take as many touches as you need to create a chance. But in your own half, it's something where you need to know what you're going to do next. Open body shape, take your touch somewhere. Like, don't just keep it stagnant in front of you. You got to take it somewhere at all times. And yeah, I think just knowing what I was going to do next. Like when I started playing with the USL team I'll just tell you that I started playing with the USL team, Bethlehem Steel, at 17, and I got my debut from them in the summertime after my 17th birthday or 16th, like probably 16 and 17, right in between there. And I started playing with Bethlehem Steel then, and I started doing really well, and I got my chance to play against Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and that was my first shot with them. And then for the rest of the year, I was with them and did really well. And then had another year with them. We went to the quarterfinals against Louisville. We lost that, and I had a really good year, and that's when I got my first team contract. So I think it all happened for a reason. I think I kept performing and kept taking the chances, and it came for me.
Fantastic stuff. Now, a lot of our players, college is the goal. For yourself, being professional has always been the goal. Are there similarities in terms of how young players can approach what they want to do in the future, whether it's college or pro?
Yeah, so I was committed to Indiana University. Mm-hmm. So before I committed anywhere else, before I knew I was going to go pro or anything like that, my parents both went to college, so they wanted me to get that done. And I'm sure a lot of American kids are like that too. But always in the back of my mind, it's been professional for me. But I think that, yeah, when I committed to Indiana, it was big for me and I had to make the right decision. But yeah, all of them have similarities. I think if you want to go to a good school and you want to play, it's something that you really need to work hard for, because college is not easy and it's different in its own ways. So I think that if you can compare professional soccer and work hard like college kids do, you know what I mean? Something that's really similar.
Some good advice there. So with the homegrown, signing homegrown, at Philly, is there an allowance for some college in that contract?
Yeah. So I made sure that I got Southern New Hampshire in my contract. So I get Southern New Hampshire like for free, so it's awesome. Yeah. And I do it probably 2 classes a semester, so I get that done. Meanwhile, like when I'm traveling and stuff, it works out perfect. And I think the league does a really good job with that for giving us the free schooling. So it's something that's new and is really helpful for everybody.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, University of Southern New Hampshire has a relationship with Major League Soccer, and a lot of the homegrown contracts now, it gives players, good young players that teams think can play professionally straight away, it gives them the option of having college paid for and taken care of. So even though Brendan's gone the pro route, he hasn't forgotten about his education. So I think that's really important for a lot of our guys, Brenden. They can do both, and college shouldn't just be ignored. So good to see that you've still got it there just in case you need it.
Of course, yeah. I mean, there's life after soccer, so you can't just run with soccer. It's going to have something after. So I think that's big, and my parents have always been strict with me with school, so it's something that I really like doing and something that I know I'm going to have to do after.
So how did you balance school and soccer in the academy? Because obviously you were taking on more and more on soccer front as you got older. Was there some time challenges there?
Yeah, so I try, like my mom was huge on keeping me. So the union have a school, so what's called YSC Academy, and my mom wanted to keep me with my friends and everybody because you know how moms are. But, I was with them for a little while. I was with my friends, and I went to elementary school, middle school, and 1 year of high school with my friends. And then the school was getting out of control where I'd have to drive an hour and 15 minutes to go to school. I'd be doing my homework in the car, like getting car sick. It was just, I'd be getting home at 9:00 at night, having to do a project. Like it didn't make sense to do it anymore because of how hard it was. But I ended up going to the YSC Academy my sophomore year, and it was one of the best decisions I've made, just with school and getting more soccer, because you would train in the morning and then train in the afternoon. So I think it gave me that extra step too. And YSC, the union school, just has a great setup, and you get your schooling, and even if you're playing with the second team, you still get your schooling. It's all online, so you can do it wherever. And yeah, I just think it's really smart. I think it was really smart for me to go there. And of course, I still kept my friends, which is perfect. So it's not something you should worry about if you're trying to do stuff like that.
So you've obviously, been pretty happy with how things have gone so far. We've talked about the fact that you wanted to be a pro from a young age. You've kept up with the education piece. That's still there if you need it. How did you sort of map out this more specifically? I mean, let me rephrase it a little bit. Being a pro is quite a nebulous concept, right? Did you set goals? Did you have targets year by year? Did you break it down over 5 years? Did you break it down month to month? Was there anything like that going on in your development?
Yeah, I think that I always set high goals for myself, and it's something I've done at a high age. Is I want to be the best on the team or best on the field at all times, and it's just something that I've always kind of ran with, and even best in the classroom, stuff like that. But I think that for me, I think that setting goals like this past year, I mean, I didn't think like, of course, like you always want to assume that you're going to have the best year you can. But for me, I didn't think I was going to have the year that I did last year. It was an amazing year. I got a lot of time for my first year in pro soccer, and it was huge for me. And same with Bethlehem Steel, like working up from there. Like I got a lot of chances and I took them, and it just kind of went up from there. And I think for a young player, I think when you get your chance, it's not, you can't not take it. You need to take the opportunity.
So let's talk a little bit now about your time with the youth national teams. How did that help you get into where you are now? That was always part of the target, part of what you were aiming for, or just it happened to come along. Like, let's just speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I got invited to the first camp, and this is like I kind of struggled a little bit in the camp, so I didn't get called back for a few camps, and that was definitely upsetting. And the national team is always a great thing to be a part of, and it was upsetting for me. So I always wanted to work hard to get back into that. And I ended up getting back in 15 to go to England and play against England twice. And that was huge for me. I got the coach was Hackworth, so he's a great coach. I like him a lot. I know he's at Louisville now. But yeah, he's a great coach, and I had a great time with him. I didn't go to the U17 World Cup or U20 World Cup. It's something that I got left off on, but it's just something that just fires me up and just makes me want to get better. I don't really take it as, oh, poor me, I didn't get on. It's something that I just kind of put fire in my belly, and I just go out and train. So, and now it's all caught up. I've been a part of the U23 national team and even the men's national team. So I think it's just something that I didn't really like. It's something that I learned to not worry about at a young age. And all that really matters is the men's national team and U23 team. But I'm not saying like it's great being a part of the youth national teams, but I think what really matters is the U23s and men's national team. That's what really matters.
Yeah, I mean that's the World Cup. It's the Olympics. Those are the big ones that everyone wants to be part of. So did you get told why you got left out of those teams?
Yeah, some of it was being smaller, not being like I wasn't slow, but I wasn't the fastest when I was little. I started to get faster, and I think it was a little bit of small, and then I was growing a lot, so I was like a baby giraffe sometimes. I couldn't get my feet right. But yeah, I think it's just kind of the struggle of coming up.
So it's physical development. It's something that you can't control. You just have to wait for it to come back together.
You got to work hard to make sure that you can get on the next team.
Other setbacks, and how did you handle them? Was there injuries? Was there sort of other unexpected things? Like how do you deal with roadblocks that pop up and potentially stop you from getting to where you want to be?
So I broke my collarbone in a USL game. It was the beginning of, I want to say 2 years ago. Because, 2 years ago, it was the beginning of the USL season. I got my first start of the year. Because it's harder for an academy guy during that time because most of the first team guys would drop down to the USL team. So it was harder to get your shot, and I finally got it. And 15 minutes into the game, we were playing against FC Cincinnati. And I don't know if you know Lasso.
I do.
Center back, yeah. I decided to go shoulder to shoulder with him, which probably wasn't the best thing. And I just didn't know it was coming. So, like, I wasn't aware of my left side because I just got past someone. I was trying to go forward. I just got wailed on my left side, and I ended up breaking my collarbone. So I played for like 10 minutes longer, and then I just like a wave of pain hit me, and I was just like, oh god, I gotta go over to the sideline. And I thought my shoulder got like I don't know how to call it. Like your shoulder goes out of place, I guess you can say, or like dislocated.
Yeah.
And I ended up going inside, and they just said like broke my collarbone, so I got to go to the hospital. And yeah, I mean, from there it was bad. I was upset. It wasn't fun because I was never really injured before. I never really had injury problems, so that was my first big injury, and I was off for like 6 to 10 weeks. I mean, 6 to 10 weeks. So yeah, it was tough. And the funny thing is that I ended up coming back better than I did before. And it's something that during that time I was constantly working with my dad on technical stuff and stuff you don't normally get when you're doing team trainings. So just like one-on-one stuff. And I ended up coming back and scoring my first game back against Atlanta United 2. And yeah, it just goes to show you that you can like come back from an injury and be better than you were before.
Are there any mental techniques you'd recommend to young players? You use sports psychology. It sounds like you have the physical part of recovery down. The working on the technique and all of that. Are there some sports psych things that you would recommend?
Yeah, so we have a sports psych girl in our academy, so I went to her a few times. But I think for me, I think it was just finding other hobbies to do while you're injured. I watched a lot of Netflix. I played a lot of video games, I'll say that. But I mean, it was just, I think 2 hours a day is just technical stuff. And it was just doing stuff where I could come back and be stronger and be better than I was before. And I think that's like, should always be in your head and just finding other hobbies to do. Don't like, and I went to games and stuff, like it doesn't bother me, but I know for other people it does when you watch it and you can't play it. So I think that for me, I think that I was fine going to watch the games because it wasn't like that long of an injury. But yeah, I mean, it was still tough going to them, but because you want to be on the field at all times. But it's just something that you come to terms with, and I came to terms with it, and I knew I was going to come back and be stronger, and that's what I kept telling myself.
Yeah, and I think having these other things is important, right? It's a little bit like recovery. It's a bit of a mental recovery from the rigors of the game if you're watching Netflix or playing your video games or something like that. I mean, recovery is a really important part of being a young athlete.
Yeah, I literally couldn't. I was sitting on my couch because I can't move. Like it's something that has to heal on its own. So I couldn't move for like 4 or 5 weeks. It's something that I just had to sit there and not like move my arm. It was awful. But yeah, it was not a fun injury. So hope no one has that.
So speaking of not being able to do too much, what are you doing right now? I mean, everybody's in the situation where we can't really, train properly together. We're stuck in our homes. Maybe we can go to the local park with a family member. How are you handling that mentally, and what are you doing in terms of training?
Yeah, so I've been doing what I always do with my brother and my dad. We go out. I'm fortunate to have a backyard that I can play soccer in, and I have my basement and stuff that I can do technical stuff. And if you find any sliver of grass, it's all you need to do technical stuff. It's just at your house. Like if you have a little backyard or you have the street, you put futsal shoes on or something. It's something that you can find, and you can find YouTube videos. I look at YouTube videos all the time, trying to find new skills, new technical stuff I can do, like 1,000 touch videos. Like I do those all the time. And just having my dad and my brother play 1v1 and stuff like that. That's what I've been up to. And then fitness, I've been running a lot. For the season, you need to come back fit. I think that's I think the teams that are the most fit are going to win the first couple games because not the technical part might not be there, but if you're the fittest team, then you're going to win the games. And we've been getting these programs sent out to us from the club, lifting, like finding like we could go to the place and get dumbbells, like from our training facility, get dumbbells and stuff like that we need to lift. So that's how I've been staying fit. And I've been enjoying family time. I was just down the shore and finding other hobbies to do, like I said.
So describe to me what a typical day looks like, a typical training day for you.
So like this is back when this isn't going on, or just
I think right now, just with the thing with COVID-19, and a lot of our young players they're trying to make schedules, but it's a little bit difficult because they're not sure what to do or how to approach their soccer. So if you could just run us through a typical day, sort of wake up at 7.
I wake up at like 10. I'm not an early guy. I don't like getting up early, but I wake up at like 10.
You're a teenager, Brenden. That's
it's normal. It's normal. But I wake up at like 10, roll out of bed. I just kind of get up, just chill for a little bit, don't do much, probably play a few video games. And then I start to get into stuff around 3, I'd say. And me and my brother go out and train with my dad. We'll probably do some finishing on some days, technical stuff on other days. juggling, playing two-touch, soccer, tennis, anything that we can think of just to get some kind of part of it, passing, long balls, anything. But yeah, that's what I normally do. And then after that or before that, we'll do fitness. I'll run around my street. I'll probably run down the street a little bit, probably like a mile or something, run back. And after that, I'll do some lifting. And by that time, it's probably 6 o'clock and just have dinner, play some more video games, and then go to bed. That's normal in a normal day.
It's getting the work done. I mean, it's a lot of, one of the positive things about it's a good chance to get a lot of touches on the ball, right? And I think some of the things you've hit on are really important. It's about making sure that you initiate, you find stuff on YouTube that works for you and maybe fits in with some of the goals you have. So, I think that's a good lesson there for some of our guys.
Mm-hmm.
So let's chat a little bit about what happens next for you. The season, hopefully the season starts up again soon. Do you have goals for the season? Do you have longer term goals for your career? You made your debut with the national team earlier this year. Fantastic achievement for someone so young. Where do you think that can go? Let's just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for the rest of the year for me, I think I already touched on it. My goal is to get 10 goals, 10 assists for the rest of the season. I think that's a sturdy number that will push me to do that. And for a 10, I think that's a good numbers for a really good season. So I want to have another great season. I want to help the Philadelphia Union as much as I can and have another historical year like we did last year. And for me, for the future, it's always been the goal of going to Europe and playing in Europe and playing on a top team, playing in a top league. That's always been a dream of mine, and I want to strive towards that as much as I can. And I'm super excited if I could do that. But if not, I'll be totally fine with it. And you just got to get on with things and hope I can do it. And for the national team, I think that I want to represent the national team as much as I can. It's something that I really have a passion towards, and I've been watching World Cups and seeing how people love them and people like how you show expressions or show emotion towards it. It's really crazy. And yeah, I just want to represent in the World Cup or Olympics or any big tournament like that.
Some fantastic stuff there, mate. So hopefully we'll see you back on the field soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully you can continue to play for the national team. We want to see the US going to a World Cup and doing well. And I think with the age you're at, it sort of ties in nicely, right? There's a nice pathway there for you. Yeah. From what I've seen, people rate you quite highly. They think you have a big future. Yeah, I'm sure it's something you're aware of, particularly in the social media age. How do you, at your young age, how do you handle that? I've seen a lot of young players that get a big reputation and, they sort of start believing other people, right? Not what their own little circle thinks, but they start believing what other people think. And sometimes it goes sideways. Sometimes it works out. How do you handle the aspect of sort of the pressure, the potential fame or notoriety?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at my phone now, I have my notifications for Instagram and Twitter turned off. I mean, that's something my dad and my mom has trusted me about for a long time. And myself, I'd never been a cocky kid. I never wanted to be a cocky kid. I just wanted to do it quietly and do my work quietly. And I think that like the kids that get big heads like that, you can see how it turns out. I mean, there's a bunch nowadays where it's not the best situations for them, but I think it's something that's huge, and you can't let that stuff like get to you. You know what I mean? Like I don't like looking at any of that stuff. So I try to stay away from it. And yeah, it pops up sometimes. So even when hate comments come in, it's gonna hurt you a little bit. But I mean, I don't try to think about it that much because it only fires you up even more.
Sounds like you're pretty competitive.
Yeah, I'm really competitive. Really competitive.
Where does that come from?
My dad, probably. My dad, my grandpa, probably my dad's side of the family, and my mom's. My mom's grandpa was a baseball player too. But yeah, my dad's grandpa was a football player, and he was a pretty good football player. My dad was a good soccer player, so yeah, it probably comes from that. And my little brother, because he pisses me off a lot when he says he can beat me and stuff. So I don't like that at all. But yeah, I'm definitely competitive.
It also sounds like you've channeled it in the right way, though. Some people don't.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't like in trainings, I'm not going to go out of control. Like I'm not going to make it I'm not gonna be like one of those kids that is gonna be like an a-hole about it or something like that. Like I'm not like that competitive, but I am competitive. It'll bother me.
So, what advice would you have for young players at a club like Davis Legacy? Some of them just want to have a good club experience. Some of them want to play in college, and there'll be some of them that also want to play pro. You've obviously achieved a lot at a young age, and we're sure that there's more to come. Looking back on your career, what advice would you give a young player that's coming up?
I would say enjoy all of it. I mean, you only get to play soccer for a little part of your life, and I think that I have the most fun with it in the world, and I think everybody should. Yeah, that's the first thing. I know all the competitive stuff and working hard is another thing, but I think just having fun with it. Like I go out and I enjoy what I do every single day. So just enjoying the moment and working as hard as you can to strive for whatever you want.
Some great advice there. Brendon, I don't have too much else. Is there anything else that you want to share? This is sort of your platform.
No, yeah, I think we hit everything really. I mean, I would just like to say I'm fortunate to have the family that I've had over the years of my life, and they've helped me. So you always need that people behind you, even if it's friends or if anybody else, you need that support group behind you to really help you out. And yeah, it's been an exciting experience for me. So I'm excited to keep going with it.
Well, we're delighted to be able to talk to you today. We really appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully we didn't interrupt but thank you very much. Some real good advice for young players. It's fantastic to see what you've done so far at such a young age. We're looking forward to seeing more. I'm sure the future is bright. We want to wish you all the very best.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, and I just can't believe you're 19? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, thank you.
Mature for all the legacy players out there, that close, 19. I mean, great example of a professional, both on and off the field. So we greatly appreciate it. While we know that your notifications are off, please follow him on his social media. We'll put that in the links to the video. I think he's someone that's playing for our country, and and someone that we want to keep track of. And there is a little Davis connection, albeit a small one. So success has many fathers, we say. So you'll have some Davis people cheering for you the next time you pull on the Union or the US Stars and Stripes. So thank you so much.
Of course, I think I have a shirt back here too. Hold up.
Oh wow!
I think I have one back here. I gotta see if it's in my
a legacy shirt.
This could be pretty cool. We had Nico Hansen on the other day, and Akila Witherspoon, the 49 player, came on to DD's. Yeah, he's a former player, and Akila ran in and got his Columbus Crew shirt. He said, I got you, buddy. So there you go.
That's great.
It's right. I don't know where it is.
It's in the wash because you wear it all the time, right?
Yeah, I know it's here somewhere. I haven't found it in a while.
Well, if you can't find it, you can send Simon a picture of it, or send it to your agent, and we'll get it to Simon.
I have to look more. I probably should have found it earlier, but it's all good.
That's great. Well, if you do come across it, send a picture to Simon, your agent, and then we can get that out there. But hey,
Messi wearing Davis Legacy. That's what we want to see.
There we go. Well, thanks again for everything, and
thanks for having me.
True pleasure. That was top class.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
All the best.
All the best, guys. Thanks talking to you. Good talking to you. Good luck with everything.